There is a severe problem plaguing young men today, and I am trying to fix that by creating this type of content. And that problem is the lack of leadership for young men today. And I believe, I have a theory, that is why every single atrocity that we see in the world now, kids cutting their dicks off, kids not knowing what gender they are, depression, increased rates of suicide, lack of purpose, hedonism, that's all caused by lack of leadership. If you look at houses where we are raised, I believe it was a crazy stat, like 43% of young men now are being raised without a father in their home. So it's no wonder that we're having all these problems, especially, for example, in the black community. The black community, the reason they have elevated amounts of crime is because there is no leadership. But this extends to every single young man. The problem with that is when young men never had an idea of how to pick a leader because they don't know who they look up to. So as soon as somebody pops up with the answers, whether that be a school teacher, whether that be the news outlets, whether that be their favorite TikToker that suddenly says it's okay to change your gender, shit blows up and they think that that's okay. This is very dangerous because if they can convince young men, if they can manipulate them just because they grew up with lack of leadership and with lack of self-respect and knowing who to talk to and knowing who to listen to, if they can manipulate young men to literally try and switch their genders and take off the part that is most important to a male, their penis, because that is literally the essence of life, of humanity, right? Imagine what else they'll be able to do. And we're seeing it now, the things they're pushing, the atrocities they're pushing. So if we look at all the problems that young men are having today, it is because lack of leadership exists in this generation. So how do we fix that? Well, the answer is very hard because for there to be leadership, there has to be leaders. And for there to be leaders, there has to be men that are of that stature, that have that maturity, that have that knowledge to be able to lead other young men. But how do you have that knowledge to lead other young men when you yourself didn't have a leader? So it's an everlasting cycle. The answer I found to this personally, and this is my 2 cents, is every life is different. Every man will go through a different lifetime, and every man has different goals. But we do all have some things in common because of instinct. And the more you live life, and the more you experience, the more you learn, for better or for worse. So by experiencing more, ideally in the limited amount of time that you have more knowledge. And you have that knowledge not because it's scientifically correct, but because of your personal experience. So for example, the first person that touched fire burned himself. Now we know that fire burns. Before somebody touched fire, nobody knew that fire hurts to touch. And obviously there's science behind it. I'm sure it's because your pain receptors go off because they sense that there's danger and that could harm your body. But at the end of the day, somebody touched fire, he said, ow, that's hot. And he removed the hand and he told his friends. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do to you right now. Every single video I post is because I've gone through the experience or I am going through the experience and I am attesting for my personal life that it has helped. Now, obviously, if you didn't know, I'm 18, right? So the amount of experience, the amount of life experience I have is limited. And it will continue to grow and I'll continue to become a better leader and more knowledgeable for young men, right? For the next generation of young men. But I do this now because imagine there's 14-year-old me who wanted to know what was the way to start martial arts. He can check a video. Why he feels like he has a lack of purpose. He can go on my channel and check another video. And he has somebody that's relatable to him, not somebody that's super far away, somebody that is 3-4 years ahead of him and has already experienced what he's going to experience, and he knows what he's getting into. So he doesn't make the mistakes. He doesn't get manipulated by his teachers who are telling him it's okay to be gay. He doesn't get manipulated by the media who's telling him it's misogynistic to want to achieve something. He understands what he must do as a man. Now, I will try my best to lead as best as I can, but for that, I have to have a life that is filled with knowledge. And to have that knowledge, I have to have a life that is filled with experiences, and I have to fail a ton. And I'm willing to go through that, but I'm only 18. So what I'm excited about, what you should be excited about if you're following this, is that the more I grow throughout the years, the more you will be able to see where I came from to where I will be, and how much my knowledge has progressed, and how much of an influence I've taken to the young men of the world, and how much I have impacted their lives. Now, there's a bunch of great leaders that have come and have saved generations, right? And depending on what you believe in, I'm not even talking about religion, depending on what you think a good man is, you think these leaders are different people. Some people say that Andrew Tate was a great leader for the generation. Some people say that he was a horrible influence. The reality is in between both, because he has some things that are net positive for young men, and he has some things that he says that are net negative for young men, and he has some things that are in between depending on your values. So my point with this is, I am very excited to continue learning how to grow as a man and how to live my life as a man, and report back to you through these videos. So thanks for watching, man. See you, bro.